They say this bookshop only appears when you're truly lost, but I didn't believe it, until tonight. Rain pounded against the cobblestones, and a strange golden glow flickered between the shadows. I stepped inside, and immediately felt it. The air itself was alive, whispering secrets I was never meant to hear. Then I saw it, a book that shouldn't exist, glowing faintly, as if holding the dreams of everyone who had ever slept. And in that moment, I realized, someone, or something, was watching. This secret dream world was never meant to be discovered. And yet, fate had brought me here. If I dared to open the pages, there was no turning back. It was one of those nights when the rain never seemed to stop. The sky was heavy, dark clouds pressed low, and every street lamp threw a weak, trembling glow across the slick cobblestones. I had been walking for hours, though I didn't know why. My apartment was only a few blocks away, but I couldn't go back. Something about the air tonight felt different. Heavy, almost expectant. Like it was waiting for something, or someone. I pulled my coat tighter around me and kept walking, letting the rain soak through my hair and drip down my face. The streets were almost empty. Every sound was louder than usual, the distant honk of a car, the splash of water under passing tires, the soft hiss of rain running down gutters. My mind wandered, as it often did, into the kind of thoughts I tried not to think during the day. Thoughts about the future, about mistakes I'd made, about the quiet little regrets that stacked up like invisible bricks. And then I saw it. At first, I thought it was just a trick of the streetlights. Between two narrow alleys, a faint golden glow shimmered. It wasn't from a lamp or a neon sign, it was warmer than that, softer, almost alive. I stopped and stared. My first thought was that someone had left a candle in a window, but the glow flickered differently, like it was breathing. I took a cautious step forward. The closer I got, the more distinct it became, a small, wooden bookshop, tucked between two brick buildings that I knew should have been empty. I'd walked this street countless times, but tonight, somehow, this place had appeared. The sign above the door was simple. Carved letters glowed faintly, the Bookshop of Sleep. My heartbeat picked up. The name was strange, almost poetic. Sleep. Bookshop. Together, they sounded like something out of a dream, not real life. And yet, here it was. And the rain, it didn't seem to touch the steps leading up to the door. Or maybe it did, but I couldn't notice. I just knew I had to go in. I hesitated. Part of me screamed to turn back. Another part, an overwhelming part one couldn't ignore, pushed me forward. I reached for the door handle, and it swung open almost before I touched it. The air inside was warm, smelling faintly of old paper, sandalwood, and rain that had followed me in somehow. The light was soft, golden, and it spilled into the street like a promise. The shop was small. Narrow shelves lined the walls from floor to ceiling. Every book seemed alive. Their spines shimmered slightly, as if they were aware I was watching. The rain outside softened to a gentle patter, and the whole world felt distant. It was quiet, except for the soft tick of a grandfather clock in the corner and the occasional whisper of pages turning themselves. I blinked. Pages turning themselves? That couldn't be right. I moved deeper into the shop. Each step felt both normal and surreal. The floor creaked under my shoes, familiar and grounding, but the glow from the books made the air feel magical. And then I noticed the little details, a tiny cup of tea steaming on a side table, a notebook open with words written in neat handwriting, and a faint trail of dust floating in the golden light like it was dancing. No one was there. A book. Different from the rest. It was not large, not ornate, just plain, with a dark cover that seemed to drink in the light around it. But the edges glowed faintly, like the secret inside was trying to peek out. I felt drawn to it immediately, like some invisible string had pulled it from the shelf. My hand hovered over it for a long moment. I could almost feel it vibrating under my fingertips, like it had a heartbeat of its own. I took a deep breath and opened it. The pages were blank. At first glance, I thought it was just an empty notebook. But as I stared, words began to appear. Slow, deliberate, curling onto the page as if an unseen hand was writing just for me. I leaned closer. They were not just words, they were thoughts, memories, things I had never spoken aloud. Things I had never admitted, even to myself. It was me. Or at least, it felt like it. A chill ran down my spine. I wanted to close the book, to step back and pretend this wasn't happening. But my fingers couldn't move. My eyes were glued to the glowing words. And then I saw the first warning, scribbled in letters that shimmered like liquid gold: do not read further. This world is not yours to enter. I froze. I wanted to obey. I wanted to leave. But before I could move, the shop seemed to shift around me. The walls stretched higher, the shelves seemed endless, and the air thickened with a strange, electric energy. The rain outside became muffled, distant, as if the shop existed in its own bubble, separate from the world. And then I heard it. A whisper. Not from any person, but from the books themselves. Soft, almost melodic: it's too late. You are already here. I swallowed hard. My heart was pounding in my chest, loud enough that I was sure the sound echoed off the walls. And yet, in some strange way, I felt safe. Not exactly safe, but calm. The way you feel when you know something important is happening, even if you don't understand it yet. I didn't know it then, but that night would change everything. This bookshop wasn't just a place to find sleep. It was a doorway. A doorway into a secret dream world where every thought, every fear, every memory could become real. And fate had chosen me to open the door. I closed my eyes for a moment, took a deep breath, and stepped further into the glow. The shop seemed to sigh, welcoming me. Somewhere deep inside, I knew there was no turning back. The rain continued outside, steady and relentless, but inside, time seemed to slow. Every second stretched, every shadow held meaning, every whisper was a promise. And I, standing in the middle of the bookshop that should not exist, knew I was about to discover something that no one was ever meant to see. The moment I stepped further into the shop, the air changed completely. It was warmer, richer somehow, like the scent of rain-soaked earth after a long storm, mixed with the faint sweetness of vanilla and old paper. My heart was still racing, but not with fear this time, more like anticipation. Like standing on the edge of something I had always wanted but never even realized existed. The book in my hands pulsed gently, almost like it was alive. The words I had seen before had vanished, replaced by blank pages. But I could feel something humming beneath them. Something waiting to be awakened. I didn't know how, but I understood that this book was not ordinary. It was a key. I turned a page slowly, almost reverently, and the air around me seemed to shimmer. The warm golden glow spread from the book to the shelves around me, then outward, until the edges of the shop began to blur. Shadows stretched, and the walls seemed to dissolve into soft mist. I blinked, thinking it must be my imagination. But the mist thickened, forming shapes, soft, glowing outlines of places I had never seen, but somehow felt familiar. A gentle voice, almost like the whisper of the rain itself, filled the space. Welcome, it said. You are ready. I froze. I didn't know who, or what, was speaking. And yet, I felt no fear. Only a strange, unexplainable pull. My hand trembled slightly, but I turned another page. Suddenly, the shop disappeared. The shelves, the warm light, the faint smell of old books, they were gone. In their place stretched a vast, soft landscape bathed in twilight. Mist hovered over rolling hills that shimmered with silver light. Trees, impossibly tall, swayed gently though there was no wind. Flowers glowed softly along winding paths, and the air was filled with the scent of lilac and rain. Everything felt unreal, yet more vivid than any dream I had ever had. I looked down at the book in my hands. The pages were empty again, but I could feel a pulse, a heartbeat matching my own. I realized then that the book wasn't showing me this world, it was letting me step inside it. Every heartbeat, every thought I had, shaped what I saw. I took a cautious step forward. The ground felt soft beneath my shoes, almost like walking on clouds. Each step I took made the flowers sway, made the mist curl gently around me. And then I saw movement ahead. A figure appeared between two glowing trees. At first, I thought it was a person, but the more I looked, the more I realized it wasn't. It had the shape of a woman, tall and graceful, with long hair that shimmered like moonlight. Her eyes. I can't describe them fully. They were deep, endless, like looking into a sky full of stars. And yet, there was no fear in them. Only, understanding. "You are here," she said, her voice like wind chimes. "I've been waiting." I wanted to speak, but my voice caught in my throat. Instead, I nodded slowly. Something about her presence was comforting. She stepped closer, and the world around me seemed to adjust, bending slightly to accommodate her. I realized that this wasn't just a place for dreams, it was alive. Sensitive. Responsive. This world, she continued, is built from the sleep of countless souls. Every dream, every thought, every secret wish has shaped it. You have a rare gift. You can see it. You can enter it. I swallowed hard. "Why me?" I asked finally. My voice was small, almost swallowed by the mist. "Fate," she said simply. "And perhaps, curiosity. But be warned. This world is beautiful, yes, but it is not without rules. Some secrets are hidden for a reason. Some paths are not meant to be walked." I looked around, taking in the glowing hills, the silver mist, the luminescent flowers. I don't understand," I admitted. "It feels real. More real than anything I've ever felt. But it's all impossible." She smiled, and it was like sunlight breaking through clouds. "The impossible is real here," she said. "And yet, it obeys rules even you cannot ignore. You must be careful. You must choose your path wisely." I felt a chill, even though the air was warm. I didn't know what the rules were. I didn't know how to follow them. And yet, I wanted to explore. I wanted to see everything this dream world held. A soft sound reached me then, like a bell ringing in the distance. I turned toward it and saw a small path winding through the hills, faintly illuminated by glowing flowers. The path beckoned. I wanted to step onto it, but before I could, the woman's voice echoed again. "Once you step forward, you cannot turn back easily. Some things, once seen, cannot be unseen. Some dreams, once touched, will follow you into waking life." I hesitated. My hand rested on the book in my lap. The pages felt warm again. The glow from the hills seemed to seep into the pages, connecting the world outside with the world inside the book. I could feel it calling me forward. And then, without thinking, I took a step. The moment my foot touched the glowing path, the landscape shifted again. Trees bent toward me, flowers shimmered brighter, and the mist swirled around my ankles. I felt a strange sensation in my chest, like a heartbeat not my own. A sense of being watched, not by someone malevolent, but by the world itself. It was aware. Alive. And it was judging me. I looked back, expecting to see the woman, but she had vanished. Only the path remained, winding through hills and glowing fields. I took another step, and then another. Each step felt like crossing an invisible threshold, deeper into a world I wasn't supposed to fully understand. I realized then that this dream world wasn't just a place to wander. It was a reflection of the mind. Every fear, every hope, every memory I held shaped what I saw. And if I was careless, if I was reckless, it could shape me, too. The soft chime of distant bells echoed again. I followed it instinctively. The hills stretched endlessly, but the sound guided me, pulling me forward. And as I walked, I felt a strange combination of awe and terror. The path stretched endlessly ahead, glowing faintly beneath my feet, and I felt a strange combination of fear and wonder. Every step seemed lighter than the last, almost like the world was supporting me, guiding me forward. The mist wrapped around me like a soft blanket, curling gently at my ankles, and the air smelled of rain, lilac, and something I couldn't name, something sweet and slightly electric, as if the world itself was alive. I didn't know how long I had been walking when I saw it, a low arch of stone, half hidden by mist and glowing softly. Something about it felt different. Unlike the soft, rolling hills I had passed through, the arch seemed deliberate, constructed for a purpose. My heartbeat quickened. I sensed it was a threshold. I approached cautiously. The closer I got, the more the air shifted. It felt heavier, almost expectant, like the world was holding its breath. And then I saw shapes moving within the mist, figures, shadows, just beyond clear sight. I froze. "You must be ready," the woman's voice whispered in my mind, soft and echoing, though she was nowhere to be seen. Every dream world tests those who enter. Every secret has its price. I swallowed hard, gripping the book tightly. The pages pulsed faintly, warm against my palms, as if reassuring me. I had a choice: step forward and face whatever awaited me, or turn back and retreat to the comfort of the shop, leaving this world forever unexplored. Something inside me refused to turn back. I took a slow, deliberate step under the arch. The moment I did, the world shifted. The mist thickened, curling around me, and the glowing hills disappeared. In their place, I stood on a narrow bridge of silver light that stretched across a void. Stars, impossibly bright, sparkled below me, reflecting as though the sky and the void were one. The arch I had passed through vanished behind me, leaving no path to return. My stomach twisted. I wasn't afraid of heights, but this bridge, it felt alive. It trembled slightly under my feet. I stepped forward again, slowly, carefully. Every movement seemed amplified, as if the world was measuring me, judging me. Then I heard it, a low, whispering hum that seemed to come from all directions at once. It wasn't words, exactly, but it carried meaning. A warning. A challenge. To walk forward, you must first face yourself, the voice said. I froze. Face myself? I looked down at my hands, at the book, and tried to understand. And then the bridge beneath me rippled. The silver light twisted, and shapes began to form in the void below, shadows of my own fears, memories, moments I had tried to forget. Each shadow stretched and morphed into scenes I had buried deep in my mind. I saw my mistakes, harsh words I had spoken, chances I had let slip, moments when I had been selfish or cruel without realizing it. I saw times I had doubted myself, times I had given up when I should have fought harder. And then I saw a figure, a version of myself, standing silent. I see all of it. I can't hide anymore. The figure below moved then, raising a hand, pointing directly at me. I felt a pang in my chest, a mixture of shame and release. The shadows of past mistakes began to dissolve, one by one, turning into soft golden light that drifted upward and merged with the stars below. The figure smiled faintly, not cruelly, but with quiet understanding, and vanished. I exhaled, relief flooding through me, though I felt exposed and raw. This trial had not been easy, but it was necessary. The bridge beneath me shifted again, stabilizing into a solid path. The void seemed less threatening now, as if acknowledging that I had faced the first challenge and survived. I continued walking, feeling the silver light solid beneath my feet. Each step forward brought a sense of calm, but also anticipation. I knew the dream world was far from over. Each trial would test me, but it was also teaching me, shaping me for something I could not yet understand. Ahead, the bridge ended at a small island of glowing stone. It was round, almost circular, with delicate, luminescent flowers growing along its edge. The air here was warmer, richer, and I could hear faint music, soft, almost imperceptible, like a lullaby carried on the wind. And then I noticed another book. It lay on a pedestal in the center of the island, smaller than the one I carried, but glowing more brightly. The moment I approached it, words began appearing on its pages, slowly, deliberately. The first trial is complete. But the path ahead is filled with choices. Choose wisely, for each choice shapes the dream world, and yourself. I felt a shiver run down my spine. This was not a game. This was a living, breathing place with rules I did not yet understand. I realized that curiosity alone would not be enough. I would need patience, courage, and honesty. I would need to face things I had never dared to face in waking life. I looked back at the bridge I had crossed. It seemed impossible now that I had walked across it. The stars below twinkled like distant memories, and I understood that the dream world was not only a reflection of myself, it was also a reflection of every choice I had ever made and every choice I was about to make. The music grew slightly louder, guiding me toward the next path. And somewhere deep inside, I knew that I had only begun to scratch the surface of this secret world. I took a deep breath, clutching the book close to my chest, and stepped toward the next glowing path. The island stretched into a gentle slope of hills and valleys, each glowing faintly, each hiding secrets I could not yet see. The woman's voice echoed in my mind again, "The dream world will test you, but it will also teach you. You are ready for what comes next." I didn't know if I was ready. But I knew I had no choice. The path stretched ahead, mysterious and endless, and I took another step forward. Somewhere in the mist, I felt the watchful presence of the world itself. Not hostile, but aware. Observing. Waiting. I smiled faintly, a mixture of excitement and fear. This was real. More real than anything I had ever known. And yet, I understood that the real journey, the journey of discovery, of facing truths, of uncovering the dream world's deepest secrets, was only just beginning. The hills ahead glowed softly, stretching into the distance like a series of gentle waves. I stepped forward, the book clutched tightly to my chest, its warmth pulsing faintly, almost like a heartbeat. The air was calm here, but there was a tension under it, like the world was waiting for me to decide something important. As I walked, I noticed that the glowing path I had been following began to split. Not once, but 3 times, in quick succession. Each path shimmered differently. One glowed silver, faint and soft, reflecting the starlight above. Another shimmered gold, warm and inviting, with a gentle hum in the air around it. The third was darker, shadowed, with faint violet sparks flickering along its edges. I stopped, unsure which way to go. The book pulsed urgently, as if trying to tell me something, but the words remained blank. My heartbeat echoed in my ears. I realized that this was my first real choice in the dream world. The first real test. And every choice would shape the world, and me. I looked down at the silver path first. It seemed calm, peaceful. I could almost hear a soft whisper of wind guiding me forward. My first instinct was to take it, to choose safety, to move gently through a world that promised serenity. But deep inside, I felt that the silver path might also be simple. Too simple. Like it might hide nothing, reveal nothing, and offer no real understanding. The gold path glowed warmly. It was inviting, almost comforting. I imagined walking there and feeling contentment, perhaps even joy. But I hesitated. Sometimes the things that seem most inviting are also dangerous in ways you cannot see. I thought of the woman's words, "The dream world will test you." If this path was easy, would it really be a test? And then there was the violet path. It was dark, mysterious, almost frightening. The sparks along its edges flickered like lightning caught in a storm. I felt a pull toward it that I couldn't explain. My chest tightened, a mixture of fear and curiosity. There was something about the shadows that felt alive. That felt honest, in a way. That felt like it would show me truths I didn't want to see. I stood there for a long moment, weighing the paths. The dream world seemed to pause with me. The hills held their glow, the stars above twinkled, and the mist lingered just at the edges. The book in my hands pulsed harder, warmer, almost demanding that I choose. I realized then that hesitation was not an option. In this world, indecision was a path of its own, and often, one that led nowhere. I stepped toward the violet path. Fear knotted in my stomach, but I felt a spark of excitement too. This path was uncertain. Dangerous, perhaps. But it called to me. And in that calling, I felt destiny. The moment my foot touched the violet path, the world shifted again. The soft hills and glowing fields behind me disappeared. I was surrounded by shadows that shimmered like smoke, swirling around me but never touching. The air was cooler here, crisp, filled with the scent of rain and earth, but tinged with something sharper, anticipation, danger, and the unknown. The path beneath me was solid, though I could feel it hum faintly, like the heartbeat of the dream world itself. Each step I took echoed softly, and I realized that the violet path was alive. Watching. Responding. Every movement I made sent ripples through the mist. And then I heard it. A voice, soft but firm, echoing around me. Every choice has consequences, it said. And the path you choose will show your true self. I swallowed hard and kept walking. The violet path curved through glowing shadows that twisted into strange shapes. Some looked like animals I recognized, wolves, owls, foxes, but they shimmered and stretched, like reflections in water that were not quite right. Others were stranger, shapes I could not name, yet somehow understood. The entire world seemed alive, and it felt honest. No pretending, no safety nets, no gentle illusions. I realized then that this was why I had been drawn to this path. The silver and gold might have offered comfort, but only the violet path demanded truth. Only this path would show me what I needed to see. After what felt like hours, though I knew time here did not exist the way it did in waking life, I reached a clearing. The mist lifted slightly, and the shadows slowed, allowing me to see a small pool of water glowing faintly in the center. The surface reflected the stars above, and I could see my own reflection, but it wasn't exactly me. My eyes looked older, wiser, and there was a shadow beside me that moved independently, reflecting every fear, every doubt, every regret I had tried to bury. I knelt beside the pool, staring at the reflection. I could feel my pulse in the book. Words began to appear slowly on the pages. To continue, you must confront the truth you have been avoiding. Only by seeing yourself fully can you move forward. I froze. I had faced part of myself on the bridge, but this was deeper. The reflection in the water was not only my past mistakes but the parts of me I ignored, my envy, my impatience, my anger. I saw moments when I had hurt others, knowingly or unknowingly, and moments when I had failed to act, leaving people behind. I saw moments of selfishness I had never admitted aloud. I felt a lump in my throat, a mix of shame and understanding. My instinct was to look away, to flee this path, to choose an easier way. But I knew I couldn't. The violet path had already chosen me. It demanded honesty. It demanded courage. And above all, it demanded that I face myself, fully and without excuses. I took a deep breath and whispered aloud, I see it. I see all of it. I cannot hide from it anymore. The reflection rippled, and slowly, the shadow beside me began to dissolve, turning into soft light that drifted upward and merged with the stars. The pool glowed brighter, reflecting not only me but the path ahead. I realized then that the violet path had tested me, and I had passed, not perfectly, but honestly. That was enough. As I stood, the path stretched ahead, the shadows receding but still watching, faint and alive. The hills beyond shimmered with soft violet light, guiding me forward. I understood that the dream world was not forgiving, but it was fair. Every choice mattered. Every step shaped reality. I took another step, the book warm in my hands, and felt the pulse of the dream world synchronize with my own heartbeat. The violet path had revealed something essential, that fear and curiosity were not enemies, but guides. That the parts of myself I hid were not weaknesses, but keys to understanding. And that the journey was only beginning. Somewhere deep in the mist, I felt the woman's presence again. Not near, but distant, observing. Her voice echoed softly, carrying both warmth and gravity. The choice you make defines the next path. Keep moving, and face what comes. You are ready for more than you know. I nodded silently, almost to myself. I didn't know what awaited me further, but I knew this: the dream world had tested me, revealed truth, and now beckoned me onward. The path stretched ahead, mysterious and endless, glowing faintly with possibilities. I stepped forward, into the unknown, ready to face the trials the dream world had yet to reveal. The violet path continued to wind through the hills, the shadows slowly fading but leaving a faint trace of mystery behind. I felt a mix of confidence and unease. Confidence because I had faced my first real test and survived. Unease because I knew the dream world had far more to teach, and it would not be gentle. Every step reminded me that this place was alive, watching, and responsive. Every choice mattered. As I walked, the soft hum of the dream world shifted. The mist thickened slightly, curling around me, and the faint light of the path seemed to dim. I paused. Something was ahead. A figure emerged from the fog, tall, cloaked in deep indigo, with a hood shadowing their face. Even from a distance, I could sense the weight of their presence, the authority that radiated from them. The book in my hands pulsed again, warning me, urging caution. I stopped, unsure whether to move forward or step back. The figure lifted a hand slowly, as if signaling me to approach. A soft voice broke the silence, resonant and calm, carrying both warmth and authority. You've come far, traveler. Farther than most dare. But this world is not without rules, and you are not yet prepared for its deeper truths. I swallowed hard, my pulse quickening. Who are you? I asked, my voice trembling slightly. The figure lowered their hood, revealing a face that was difficult to describe. Neither young nor old, features delicate yet firm, eyes that seemed to see everything, piercing through me without cruelty. I am the keeper, they said simply. A guide for those who enter. A guardian for those who stray too far, and a reminder of what must be balanced in this world. I nodded slowly, gripping the book tightly. I didn't mean to stray. I followed the path. The keeper's eyes softened slightly. Intention matters less here than understanding. Every step you take, every choice you make, shapes the dream world and yourself. Some who enter lose themselves entirely, unable to face what they see. Others learn and grow. You have potential. But you must listen. I swallowed. Listen to what? To the rules. To the warnings. To yourself. This dream world mirrors the deepest parts of your mind. Every shadow you see, every path you take, is part of you. You must respect it, or it will consume you. There are paths you are not ready to walk, books you are not ready to open, and truths you are not ready to know. I nodded again, feeling the weight of their words. I understood, in a way I hadn't before, that curiosity alone would not protect me. That the dream world could be beautiful and terrifying at once. That balance was everything. The keeper stepped closer. There is something you must understand. Not all who enter are alone. Others have walked these paths before, and some linger in shadows, waiting. Some are guides, some are tests, and some are lost. Never assume safety simply because the path seems inviting. Every path has a cost, and every choice carries consequence. I felt a shiver run through me. How do I know what's real here? How do I know I'm not losing myself? The keeper's eyes held mine, calm but unwavering. You will know. Your heart, your intuition, the pulsing of the book in your hands, they are your compass. Do not ignore them. But also do not let fear paralyze you. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to move forward despite it. I took a deep breath, letting the words sink in. The dream world felt heavier now, as if acknowledging the keeper's presence, recognizing that guidance had been offered. Shadows shifted subtly, the mist curling back into soft waves, and the faint violet glow of the path returned. There is a task ahead, the keeper said. Not a trial of fear, but of awareness. You must meet it willingly. Only then can the next path be revealed. I hesitated. What kind of task? The keeper smiled faintly, a hint of mystery in their expression. You will know when you see it. And when you see it, you must decide how you will act. Your choice will shape not only your journey, but the dream world itself. Some truths are dangerous, but ignoring them is worse. I swallowed hard again. The weight of responsibility pressed on me, heavier than any fear or doubt I had felt before. And yet, beneath that weight was a strange sense of clarity. I realized that the dream world was not just testing me, it was teaching me. Teaching me to see myself clearly, to make choices with intention, and to face truths I had hidden from even myself. Remember, the keeper said softly, stepping back into the mist, the world is alive, and it responds. Be mindful, be brave, and be honest. The paths will continue to unfold, but only if you are ready. Before I could respond, the keeper faded into the mist, leaving only the soft violet glow of the path ahead. I felt a quiet hush settle over the hills, as if the world itself were holding its breath. I realized then that the keeper had not just guided me, they had prepared me. Prepared me for the choices, the revelations, and the tests that were still to come. I stepped forward again, the book warm in my hands. The violet path stretched into a gentle slope, leading toward a valley that glimmered faintly. Shapes moved within the mist, soft, glowing forms, like spirits of dreams past. I realized that these were not merely illusions, they were echoes, fragments of those who had walked the paths before me. Some lingered to guide, some to warn, and some, perhaps, were trapped, unable to leave. As I walked, I felt the pulse of the book intensify. The keeper's words echoed in my mind, reminding me to listen, to act with intention, to observe and understand. I realized that each step forward was not just a movement through space, but a step deeper into myself. The mist began to thin as I approached the valley. I could hear soft whispers, faint but distinct. Not words, exactly, but emotions carried on the air, memories, regrets, hopes, fears. The dream world was alive, yes, but it was also aware. Every choice I had made, every trial I had faced, was being recorded, reflected, and responded to. And then I saw it, a faint glow ahead, not part of the path, but suspended in the air. A small, hovering book, its pages gently turning on their own. The light from it was soft, yet intense, calling me forward. I approached slowly, aware that this was the task the keeper had warned me about. I knelt before the floating book, feeling its warmth seep into my hands. The pages shimmered, and words began to form. The next step is yours to choose. Will you face the truth willingly, or will you turn away? Courage is required, honesty is demanded, and action is inevitable. What you do now will echo in the dream world forever. I swallowed hard, taking a deep breath. I realized that this was more than a test of courage, it was a test of self-awareness, of responsibility, of integrity. I had faced fears, but now I would face consequences, choices that could shape everything ahead. The path ahead shimmered faintly, glowing in response to my heartbeat. The mist curled back, forming shapes that whispered faint encouragements, reminders of the keeper's words, and echoes of my own thoughts. I understood then that the dream world was not merely a place of wonder, it was a living reflection of my own soul. I took another step forward, ready to engage with the task, ready to confront whatever truths the dream world would reveal. The keeper's presence lingered in my mind, a quiet reassurance and a solemn warning. And as I approached the floating book, I realized something profound. The journey was not only about exploring this magical world, it was about discovering who I truly was. And that discovery would not be gentle. The floating book hovered before me, glowing softly in the violet mist. Its pages turned slowly, as if inviting me to see what lay within, but also warning me that what I would find might not be comfortable. I hesitated, my hand trembling slightly as I reached out. The warmth of the book seeped into my palm, steadying me. I realized, suddenly, that this was the true test the keeper had spoken of, a confrontation with myself, with everything I had tried to ignore, hide, or forget. I opened the book fully, and the pages began to shimmer with light. Words appeared as if being written in real time, tracing themselves in letters of gold. But these words were not stories. They were fragments of my thoughts, memories, emotions, and fears. Each line reflected moments I had never shared, moments I had tried to bury, and moments I had barely even admitted to myself. The first passage appeared, a memory of a time I had hurt someone I cared about. I remembered the words I had spoken in anger, how they had cut deeper than I had realized at the time. I felt a pang of shame, and my throat tightened. I wanted to close the book, to turn away, but the warmth in my hand reminded me that running would not help. This was the task I had chosen by stepping onto the violet path. I read on. More memories emerged, times when I had been selfish, times when I had failed to act when action was needed, times when I had let fear guide me instead of courage. Each memory was accompanied by a soft glow that pulsed in rhythm with my heartbeat. The dream world was not merely showing me these moments, it was asking me to acknowledge them. I whispered aloud, almost to myself, I see it. I see all of it. I cannot hide anymore. The words in the book shimmered brighter, and the mist around me began to swirl, forming shapes that reflected the emotions tied to each memory. I saw echoes of regret, fear, anger, and loneliness, twisting and flowing like liquid light. Some shapes were comforting, gentle reminders of love or hope I had experienced, while others were harsh, sharp, and painful. And then I saw a shadow, darker than the others, moving independently. It was my own reflection, but exaggerated, every flaw, every regret, every fear amplified. It stared at me silently, holding a weight that made my chest ache. I realized then that the book was not only revealing my past, it was asking me to confront it directly. I took a deep breath, holding the book close. I am responsible, I whispered. I cannot change the past, but I can face it. The shadow shifted slightly, almost as if acknowledging my words. The golden letters on the pages began to change, forming a new passage. Acceptance is the first step. Courage is the second. Action is the third. Only by acknowledging, understanding, and choosing can you move forward. I felt a lump in my throat. Acceptance. Courage. Action. These were not just words, they were instructions, guiding me through the task. I realized that the dream world had given me an opportunity, not to punish me, but to teach me. I closed my eyes for a moment, taking a deep breath, and let the memories wash over me. I did not fight them. I did not turn away. I allowed myself to feel everything, the shame, the regret, the fear, and also the hope, the love, and the lessons I had learned along the way. It was overwhelming, but it was also freeing. When I opened my eyes, the shadow before me began to dissolve, merging with the glowing mist. The book pulsed once, then quieted, its pages blank again but warm in my hands. I understood that I had passed the first part of the task, acknowledgement. I had faced the truths I had been avoiding, and in doing so, I had taken the first step toward growth. But the task was not yet complete. The book shifted, opening to a new page. This time, it was not words that appeared, but images, visions of possible futures. Each vision was tied to a choice I might make, a path I might follow, a decision I might encounter. I saw myself succeeding, failing, hurting, helping, finding joy, and facing sorrow. The images were vivid, almost real, and they filled me with both hope and fear. I realized then that the second part of the task was about intention. About deciding who I wanted to be, and understanding that every choice would ripple through the dream world, and through myself. I felt the weight of responsibility pressing down, heavier than any fear I had felt before. I took another deep breath and whispered, I will choose carefully. I will act with honesty and courage. The images shifted, responding to my words. The visions of harm and selfishness faded slightly, while those of compassion, bravery, and understanding glowed brighter. I realized that this was the second step, intention. By committing to act with integrity, I was shaping the dream world and preparing for the trials to come. Finally, the book pulsed one last time, and the mist parted, revealing a faint path ahead. The words appeared one final time, the first task is complete. You have faced the truth, acknowledged it, and set your intention. The path continues. But know this, the journey will grow more difficult. Your courage will be tested, and your choices will matter more than ever. I stood slowly, the book warm in my hands, and looked at the path ahead. The violet glow stretched forward, leading into valleys and hills that shimmered with possibilities. I realized that the dream world was not a place to conquer, but a place to understand. Every shadow, every glow, every whisper was a lesson waiting to be learned. I took the first step forward, feeling the pulse of the dream world synchronize with my own heartbeat once more. I knew that the keeper had prepared me for this, that the trials ahead would demand everything I had, and that the journey was only beginning. Somewhere deep in the mist, I felt the faint presence of the keeper, observing, guiding, and waiting. Their words echoed in my mind, courage, honesty, action. Remember these. The path is yours, but the world will respond to what you do. And with that, I stepped further into the violet path, ready to face the next challenge, knowing that the dream world had already begun to change me in ways I could not yet fully understand. The violet path stretched on, winding through soft hills that glimmered faintly in the dream world's light. The air was still warm, but carried a subtle tension, a quiet warning that the world ahead was not gentle. I could feel the pulse of the book in my hands, steady, almost insistent, as if it knew what awaited me. After what felt like hours of walking, though I could not measure time here, the path led into a wide valley. The mist that had clung to the hills thinned, revealing a landscape unlike any I had seen before. The valley was vast, stretching endlessly, filled with soft, glowing lights that hovered above the ground. The air was alive with sound, not loud or harsh, but a soft chorus of whispers and echoes. Every step I took seemed to awaken them, and I realized with a chill that this place was not empty. It was the Valley of Echoes. I could see the shadows first, faint and wavering, moving among the glowing lights. They were not entirely solid, nor completely transparent. They seemed to shimmer in and out of existence, like mist shaped by memory. As I drew closer, I realized that the shadows were echoes of choices, moments from my past and from others who had passed through this world. Some were kind, some cruel, some brave, some cowardly. And all of them whispered softly, carrying fragments of emotion, regret, hope, sorrow, joy. The weight of it struck me. The dream world was alive, yes, but this valley was its memory. Every action, every choice, every thought left an imprint. I could feel them brushing against me, whispering reminders of what had been done, and what could have been done differently. The glowing lights hovered closer, reflecting fragments of faces I recognized, people I had known, people I had hurt, people I had loved. I moved slowly, letting the echoes swirl around me. I realized that some were mine, choices I had made, moments I had buried deep in my memory. I saw mistakes I had forgotten, harsh words I had spoken in anger, kindness I had overlooked. Each echo tugged at me, a soft reminder that nothing truly disappears. Every decision leaves a trace. And then I saw others. Shadows of people I did not know, yet whose choices had shaped this place. Some lingered in the mist, hesitant and fearful, while others moved boldly, their presence commanding attention. I understood then that the dream world was not just my reflection, it was a mosaic of all who had walked its paths. Every soul left a mark, and every mark mattered. As I walked deeper into the valley, the whispers grew louder, more distinct. I could almost understand them. Forgive yourself, face the truth, take responsibility, move forward. They were gentle, yet insistent. I realized I was being guided, but also tested. Could I navigate this place without losing myself in its echoes? Could I move forward without being consumed by the weight of memory? A soft figure appeared ahead, glowing faintly in the mist. It was humanoid, yet not fully solid, shimmering like liquid light. Its eyes held wisdom and sadness, and it reached out a hand toward me. I hesitated, unsure if it was friend or test, guidance or illusion. You have come far, the figure said softly, its voice echoing slightly, blending with the whispers around us. But the valley of echoes will not show you mercy. It will remind you of all you have done, and all you have failed to do. You must face it willingly, or it will shape you without your consent. I nodded, my throat tight. I understand, I whispered. I will face it. The figure smiled faintly, then vanished, leaving only the swirling echoes and glowing lights. The violet path stretched onward, leading me toward hills that glimmered faintly in the distance. The warmth of the book pulsed gently in my hands, echoing the rhythm of my heartbeat, as if reminding me that each step mattered. I had walked through the valley of echoes, faced memories and choices, and emerged stronger, but I knew the dream world had more in store. Its lessons were far from over. Ahead, I saw it, a bridge stretching across a vast chasm of mist. Unlike the bridges I had encountered before, this one was not solid silver or glowing light. It shimmered faintly, translucent, as though woven from the very air itself. Below, I could see faint traces of shadows moving in the mist, echoes of choices, memories, and paths not taken. The bridge seemed fragile, but somehow, it felt alive, as if it would support me if I moved with intention. As I stepped closer, the book pulsed stronger, almost insistent. I realized immediately that this was a pivotal moment. The bridge of decisions would demand more than courage, it would demand clarity, honesty, and trust in myself. A soft voice echoed through the air, familiar, yet distant. The bridge will reflect your intentions. Every step is a choice. Every hesitation leaves a mark. Walk with purpose, or be lost to uncertainty. I swallowed hard. I had come far, but I knew this would be different. It was not merely a test of self-reflection or courage. This bridge would confront me with choices, and those choices would shape the path ahead. I placed my foot onto the bridge. The moment I did, the surface beneath me rippled, like water disturbed by a stone. Shadows of possible futures appeared around me, flickering in and out of existence. Some showed success, safety, and peace. Others revealed failure, loss, and regret. The bridge was alive with consequence, reflecting the weight of my decisions. I took a slow step forward. The bridge trembled slightly, responding to my hesitation. I realized that doubt would not serve me here. I needed clarity. I focused on the warmth of the book, letting it anchor me, and whispered, I choose truth. I choose courage. I choose honesty. The echoes of the possible futures shifted. The paths of selfishness and fear darkened, while the paths of integrity and bravery glowed more clearly. I felt a faint wind brushing against my face, carrying whispers, move forward, trust yourself, act with intention. Halfway across the bridge, the mist thickened suddenly, swirling around me. Shadows emerged, more solid this time, resembling people I had known, faces both kind and harsh, moments of regret and kindness intertwined. They moved toward me, silent, observing. I felt their gaze weigh heavily on me. I stopped, my chest tightening. The shadows were reminders, but also warnings. I could see myself faltering in the past, repeating mistakes I had already acknowledged, choosing fear over courage, selfishness over generosity. I realized that hesitation now could undo everything I had learned. I gripped the book tighter and spoke aloud, I have seen my mistakes. I have learned from them. I will not repeat them. The shadows paused, then began to dissipate, their forms blending into the mist. The bridge beneath me solidified slightly, pulsing with warmth. I continued walking, each step more confident than the last, feeling the alignment between my intentions, my choices, and the bridge itself. But then the bridge shifted again. The path ahead split into 3 distinct directions. Each path shimmered differently, like the choices I had faced before, yet the stakes felt higher this time. One path glowed softly with silver light, calm and serene. Another shimmered golden, warm and inviting, filled with light and gentle music. The third flickered dark violet, alive with shadow and sparks of danger. I stopped, realizing that this was the next layer of the trial, the choice of direction. My heartbeat quickened. I had faced past mistakes, reflected on intentions, and embraced honesty and courage, but this choice would determine the immediate path ahead. And I could feel it, each path was not merely symbolic, it would shape the dream world in real time. The silver path tempted me with serenity, promising peace and safety. I imagined walking there, feeling calm, secure, and free from danger. But I hesitated. The silver path offered comfort, yes, but it might also shield me from the deeper truths I needed to face. The golden path seemed joyful and inviting. I imagined laughter, warmth, and understanding, a world where every choice felt lighter, every shadow less threatening. But I knew that illusions of safety could be dangerous. I had learned this already. Then I looked at the violet path. Darker, riskier, filled with shadow and sparks of uncertainty. My chest tightened at the thought of walking it, yet a strange pull drew me forward. I realized that only this path would continue the lessons I had already begun to understand, the lessons of courage, honesty, and consequence. Only this path would reveal the next truths the dream world had prepared for me. I took a deep breath and stepped onto the violet path. Instantly, the bridge shifted, the shadows parting to reveal a clear route forward. The mist swirled around me, alive, almost approving. I felt the pulse of the dream world sync with mine once more, steady and reassuring. As I continued, the whispers returned, softer this time, guiding rather than warning. You have chosen wisely, your courage will be tested, your choices will shape the path ahead. The bridge began to descend gradually, leading me toward a valley glowing faintly with silver light. I realized that the bridge of decisions had not merely tested courage, it had tested my understanding of consequence, my ability to act with intention, and my commitment to honesty. Every hesitation, every doubt, every fear had been reflected back at me, and I had chosen deliberately. By the time I reached the end of the bridge, I felt a profound sense of clarity. The violet path had revealed not only the next stage of the dream world, but also the depth of my own growth. I had faced reflection, choices, and echoes of the past, and I had emerged with purpose and understanding. Ahead, the valley opened into a soft glow, a place I had never seen before in the dream world. The air was warmer here, filled with gentle hums of light and shadow intertwining. I realized that the bridge of decisions was only the beginning of the next stage of my journey, a stage where the consequences of choices would become more tangible, more immediate. I took the first step into the valley, the book warm in my hands, and whispered softly, "I am ready for what comes next. I will face it with courage and intention." And as I moved forward, I felt the dream world respond. The path ahead shimmered with possibility, alive and aware, guiding me into the unknown with quiet assurance. The bridge of decisions had tested me, and I had passed. The journey was far from over, but I knew one thing for certain: I was no longer the same person who had entered the dream world. Every step, every choice, every reflection had shaped me, and the path ahead would demand even more. The violet path stretched on, winding through soft glowing hills that shimmered faintly in the dream world's shifting light. Each step I took felt heavier than the last, though not in weight, but in meaning. I knew instinctively that I was nearing the center of this place, the very heart of the dream world. A place that held its deepest truths, its greatest challenges, and perhaps the most profound revelations of all. The air grew warmer, almost electric, and a faint pulse echoed through the ground beneath my feet. It was a rhythm unlike anything I had felt before, steady, insistent, alive. The book in my hands pulsed in sync with it, almost as if the heart of the dream world and I shared a single heartbeat. I slowed my steps, aware that I was approaching something monumental, something I could not yet understand fully. Then I saw it, a vast clearing, circular and glowing with soft light. At the center of the clearing floated a structure that defied description. Not solid, yet not entirely ethereal. It shimmered, shifting in form, reflecting the colors of the dream world around it: violet, silver, gold, and shadow. I knew immediately, this was the heart of the dream world, the place where all paths converged, where all truths were revealed. The moment I stepped closer, the air thickened, charged with anticipation. I could feel the weight of every choice I had made, every trial I had faced, pressing against me, urging me to understand the gravity of this moment. This was not just a place to observe, it was a place to confront, to act, to choose with clarity and courage. A voice echoed around me, resonant, deep, both welcoming and commanding: "You have walked far. You have faced fear, reflection, and choice. But to reach the true heart of this world, you must confront the deepest truth of yourself. Only by embracing it can you move forward." I swallowed hard. My chest tightened. I had faced my mistakes, my regrets, and even my intentions, but what could this ultimate truth be? My heart raced as I stepped closer to the shimmering structure. The light shifted, forming shapes and figures that seemed familiar yet strange. Faces, places, moments from my life, intertwined with reflections of the dream world itself. It was overwhelming, yet mesmerizing. I realized then that the heart of the dream world was not merely a location, it was a mirror. A living, breathing reflection of every part of me, every choice I had made, every possibility I had yet to encounter. The structure pulsed, resonating with my heartbeat, demanding honesty, courage, and understanding. Then I saw it, a shadow, darker than the others, standing at the center of the structure. It was me, yet not me. Every flaw I had ever tried to ignore, every fear I had hidden, every regret I had buried deep within was amplified, tangible, alive. Its eyes met mine, and I felt the weight of my own judgment pressing down. "You cannot hide," the shadow said, voice low but unyielding. You cannot pretend. You must face what you are, what you have been, and what you could become. Only then will the heart open to you. I trembled, gripping the book tightly. I could feel the pulse of the dream world intensify, vibrating through the ground, the air, even the mist around me. The shadow moved closer, and with each step, I felt memories, fears, and choices I had forgotten swirl around me like a storm. I closed my eyes, taking a deep breath. I could not run. I could not hide. I whispered aloud, almost to myself, I see you. I see all of it. I am not perfect, but I will face myself fully. I will accept my fears, my mistakes, and my possibilities. The shadow paused, as if considering my words. Slowly, it began to dissolve, not into nothing, but into soft golden light that merged with the structure of the heart. The pulse of the dream world shifted, becoming steadier, warmer, as though acknowledging my acceptance. Words appeared on the floating pages of the book in my hands. You have faced the heart of yourself. You have acknowledged shadow and light. But the dream world asks one final challenge, action. Will you act with the understanding you have gained, or will fear bind you? I opened my eyes. The heart of the dream world was changing, shimmering with possibilities. I could see multiple paths forming within it, each glowing differently. Some paths promised safety, comfort, and ease. Others flickered with uncertainty, challenge, and risk. I understood immediately that my choice here was not symbolic, it would shape the dream world itself. The book pulsed, warm and insistent, almost like it was encouraging me. I realized that this was the culmination of everything I had learned: courage, honesty, reflection, and intention. I could choose a path of safety, or a path that embraced the unknown, with all its lessons and risks. I hesitated for a moment, feeling the weight of possibility pressing down. But then I remembered every step that had brought me here: the violet path, the valley of echoes, the bridge of decisions. I had faced fear, reflection, and choices before, and I had grown stronger because of them. I understood now that courage was not the absence of fear, it was action in spite of it. I took a deep breath and stepped onto the path of challenge, the one that flickered with shadow and sparks of light. The structure pulsed, the dream world responding to my intention, and the mist around me parted, revealing a way forward. I felt a profound sense of alignment, as though my heartbeat, the pulse of the dream world, and the rhythm of the floating book were one. The shadow of myself dissolved completely, leaving only the structure of the heart, glowing softly with colors that reflected every part of me: fear, hope, regret, courage, and possibility. I realized then that the dream world was not a place to conquer, it was a place to understand. Its heart had tested me, challenged me, and now it recognized me as one who could move forward with clarity and intention. As I walked further into the heart, the mist lifted, revealing a path that stretched endlessly forward, glowing softly with the colors of the dream world. I understood then that the journey was far from over, but I was no longer the same person who had entered. I had faced reflection, choice, fear, and truth. I had embraced the lessons of the dream world, and in doing so, I had grown. Somewhere deep within the heart, I felt the presence of the keeper once more, distant but observing, as if acknowledging my progress. Their words echoed softly in my mind: the heart of the dream world has accepted you. You have faced your shadow, embraced your light, and acted with intention. What comes next will test you further, but you are ready. I nodded silently, feeling the weight and warmth of their words. The path ahead stretched forward, mysterious and endless, alive with possibility. The heart of the dream world had revealed itself, but it had also reminded me that growth was ongoing, that choice, courage, and reflection would always be required. I took the first step onto the new path, the book warm in my hands, and whispered softly, I am ready. I will face whatever comes, with honesty, courage, and intention. The dream world pulsed around me, alive and aware, guiding me into the next stage of the journey. I understood then that the heart was not just a destination, it was a beginning. And the greatest challenge was still to come. The new path stretched endlessly ahead, alive with shifting lights and shadows, shimmering like liquid stars. After walking through the violet paths, the valley of echoes, the bridge of decisions, and finally the heart of the dream world, I felt changed. Every step I had taken, every reflection, every choice, had shaped not just the dream world, but me. And yet, I knew this was the final trial. The awakening was near. The book pulsed in my hands, warmer than ever, almost as if it were alive, almost as if it had grown with me. I realized that it was not just a guide, but a companion. Every page, every glow, every word had reflected my journey, and now it would reflect my final choice. As I moved forward, the mist parted, revealing a tranquil lake. Its surface was perfectly still, reflecting the skies of the dream world above, glowing with violet, gold, and silver light. The air was calm, heavy with anticipation. I understood immediately, this was the threshold. The moment where I would face not only the dream world, but myself, fully and completely. I knelt beside the lake, the book still pulsing gently in my hands. And then, as if drawn by the surface, I saw my reflection, not just the shadow self I had faced in the heart, but the entirety of who I had become. I saw the fear I had faced and acknowledged, the mistakes I had accepted, the courage I had nurtured, the intention I had set. And I saw, in the reflection, possibilities yet unrealized, the person I could continue to grow into. A voice echoed through the air, soft, serene, yet full of authority. I recognized it immediately, the keeper. You have reached the awakening. You have walked through fear, reflection, and choice. You have faced the heart of this world and your own shadow. Now you must act, fully and intentionally, to complete your journey. I took a deep breath. The final task was not a trial of courage or reflection, it was a trial of integration. I understood then that the dream world was not separate from me. Every shadow, every light, every echo, every choice, it had always been part of me, and I part of it. To awaken fully, I had to embrace this truth, fully and without hesitation. I opened the book, and the pages shimmered with a soft golden light. Words began to appear. Speak the truth of yourself. Accept all that you are. Step into the world you have shaped with courage, honesty, and intention. I closed my eyes and whispered aloud, I accept myself. Every fear, every mistake, every courage, every choice, I embrace all of it. I am ready to awaken. The lake shimmered in response. The water rippled outward, glowing brighter and brighter until it enveloped the path, the hills, the valley, the bridges, the entirety of the dream world I had walked through. The violet light, the gold, the silver, all merged into a radiant glow that filled me from head to toe. I felt warmth, clarity, and power coursing through me. I felt the dream world pulse in sync with my heartbeat, as if acknowledging that I had completed the journey with honesty and intention. And then, a sensation unlike anything I had felt before, a gentle lift, as if the world itself was carrying me upward. I felt the boundaries of the dream world dissolve. The colors faded, the shadows softened, and the glowing paths became a gentle warmth around me. I opened my eyes, and I was awake. I was in my room, but everything felt subtly different. The world seemed sharper, more vivid, yet calmer, as if I could see and feel the underlying currents of choice and consequence. The memories of the dream world lingered like a soft hum in my mind. I could still feel the pulse of the book in my hands, though the physical book was gone. I understood that it had been more than a guide, it had been a teacher, a reflection of my inner self, and a companion through the trials of growth. For a long moment, I just sat there, breathing deeply, letting the realization sink in. The dream world had tested me, guided me, and revealed the truths I had hidden even from myself. And I had faced them, not perfectly, but honestly. I had acted with courage, intention, and reflection. I had integrated the lessons into my being. I realized something profound. The dream world was not just a place of wonder or challenge. It was a mirror of life itself. Every fear, every choice, every regret, every courage, the same principles applied in waking life. The dream world had given me the gift of clarity, the power of reflection, and the understanding that I am never separate from the choices I make. I stood and moved through my room, feeling the subtle shift in myself. The world outside, the sounds of life, the colors of morning light, felt deeper, richer. I could see the layers of cause and effect, of action and consequence, woven through every moment. And I understood, fully and clearly, that the awakening was not the end. It was a beginning. The lessons of the dream world would stay with me. The courage I had nurtured, the reflection I had embraced, the honesty I had cultivated, they were now part of me. And I knew that every choice I made from this moment on would carry the weight and wisdom of the journey I had walked. I sat again, closing my eyes briefly, feeling the echoes of the dream world whispering softly in my mind, courage, honesty, intention, reflection, growth. You are ready. Move forward. And I smiled, a soft, serene smile, knowing that the dream world had not only tested me but transformed me. I had faced shadows, embraced light, navigated choices, and discovered the heart of myself. And now, awake, I carried it all into life itself. The awakening was complete. But the journey, my journey, would continue.